Hey guys, Nominator here with another pathofexile video. We've just got to, well, a few hours ago, we got to the end of day one of the Settlers of Kalguur Lake. We had so much fun over the last 24 hours. We've started a Guardian character, and our plan was we've started in the hardcore SSF League. We usually play softcore SSF, but I've tried. I did want to start in hardcore this time for a few different reasons. One being that I wanted to get better at the game. Number two, in hardcore, items actually matter, so the item progression is has got a lot more consequence in hardcore as opposed to softcore. And yeah, it was just a different feeling, and I'm really enjoying myself so far. So we wanted to start a true and tested league starter, which is a character that I've done the initial stage of the character I've done a couple of times before, although it was a different version. We've decided to start with the Guardian SRS to transition into Bama Guardian, and our goal for the day one was to get to maps, not die obviously, and farm our gems in lab, because we are using obviously the mirror arrow of bombarding clones and blink arrow of prismatic clones. So we wanted to get those farmed at the end, by the end of day one, and we wanted to actually get into mapping playing this build rather than our leveling build, which was SRS Pops, which what SRS Pops means, for those of you which are not super familiar with SRS, is basically what we are scaling is minion instability, the minion instability node, and the thing that it gives to our minions is minions explode when reduced to low life, dealing 33% of their life as fire damage to surrounding enemies, which means that what we are scaling is minion life. So I'm just gonna quickly show you. I mean, this is obviously the tree that we've got at the moment. We have just respec out of our previous tree, and we had obviously gone to minion instability. We had a few different minion life nodes, like for example the ones here, the ones here, the ones here. And the way that we leveled during the campaign is we start off with the stock standard leveling build for anything that's in the north or northwestern part of the tree, which would be Rolling Magma, the Fire Golem, Holy Fire Golem, I believe it's called, and Flame Wall. Now, what we transition into is we drop Rolling Magma for SRS, and SRS is supported with Infernal Legion and Combustion. This would be your initial 3-link. Then when you get to a 4-link, you'd go with, again, Infernal Legion and Combustion, and you're gonna have Fire Pen. That should be your first 4-link, and then at level 38 you are gonna get, I forget the name of the gem, let me go to my hideout to see what it's called. But basically what you're gonna swap is you're gonna keep the Infernal Legion, because Infernal Legion is the gem that allows your SRSs to degen, so they can quickly get to low life, so they can explode, which is the whole point of the build. So we keep Infernal Legion, we keep Fire Pen, but instead of minion life, we get, I mean, and there is a few things. You may decide to keep minion life and drop fire pen, but the gem that we did choose to have, and that's just for a lot of quality of life, is, let me see where the gem is. Where is the gem? Intensify, high impact, feeling frenzy. What's wrong? Am I dumb? I might be. 38, 38. So it should be here. Spell echo. It's not spell echo. It is unleash. Yeah. So we swap minion life for unleash, or you can swap minion. You can swap fire pen for unleash, depending on what colors you have. So if you have 4 blue, obviously you drop fire pen. If you've got 3 blue and 1 red, you drop minion life. Again, that's not, you know, it's not based on the best values, best math or whatever. It's just what I've done. So that should be your falling for the campaign. You'd be dropping. So as I said at the beginning, you'd be using SRS on the trilling with Holy Flame Totem and Fire and Flame Wall. Now, when you get your first lab, which would be your Radiant Crusade node, which gives you the Summon Sentinel of Radiant skill, which is a lot of damage. Basically, you get a minion that uses like a variation of the Righteous Fire skill gem. So it does a lot of damage. And it also gives you 20% of damage from hits is taken from your Sentinels of Radiance live before you, so some survivability as well. At this point, and when you get a 4-link, I think SRS just starts doing enough damage on its own. And what I've been doing is obviously you can, that will depend on what links you get. You'd have your auras, which were, first of all, you start off with clarity. Then once you get your sovereignty wheel allocated, you get the reduction of mana cost of skills. Then what I did was get determination and clarity. And when you, actually I haven't gotten this yet, but basically at this level of reservation efficiency, you can do determination and purity of elements on mana, and then you get clarity support with arrogance. So basically that means it will support, it will be supported by life rather than mana. And yeah, that would be your auras. Now you can also, once you get the mana mastery here for another %12 increased, 12% increased mana reservation efficiency skill, I've also added on vitality. Now later on, when, if let's say if we drop enlighten, and we also will be getting another mana reservation wheel over here, we'll be passing through here to charisma. We may be playing about with our aura setups, and again, we probably will be dropping purity of elements at some point when we are able to itemize the, because the thing about purity of elements is not so much the resistances, although it is super helpful. I did have to play about with gear a lot less to fix resists when you're transitioning to maps, but the most important thing is the immunity to all elemental ailments, that being freeze, burn, and shock. And these are, especially in hardcore, probably quite high up on the list of reasons why your character will die. You get either frozen or you get shocked and you end up, getting a lot more damage dealt to you or ignited, etc. So yeah, this should be our base level of defense when you just are fresh off to mapping. You'd have your SRS skill, and we used to have, for mobility, we would have shield charge supported with faster attacks, and then we also have frost blink. So what you do is you shield charge and then frost blink, and because frost blink is instant skill, they would link together quite well, so you'd get like a double movement skill exerted at the same time, and then you'd shield charge again until frost blink comes off of its cooldown, and then you'd frost blink again. So I think you'd end up doing something like you'd shield charge twice, then frost blink once, twice shield charging, etc. We didn't have any other minions. I mean, I did use 7 stone golem, but it's only starting to have enough life to not be killed all the time, needing to resummoned all the time, just about now. So I really didn't use it a lot, and I didn't have any links available to link it to some stuff like blind or culling strike or any utility supports at all. So it was just being leveled in my gems. Obviously, Sentinel of Readiness was doing a lot of damage, but now we are at the transition point. Now I'm gonna show you first of all what most of my transition gear for SRS was, and I'm gonna go over my gear for Bama, because this is the build that we'll be playing, which is Blink Arrow and Mirror Arrow mix. So when we were leveling with SRS, our initial gear was so pretty, I mean, everything was picked up off the ground. We didn't use the link mechanic to gamble for any items or anything like that. We've only recently started to think about with it, so we've not really tested it a lot. I can't really... the only thing I can say right off the bat is that I got a 5 link off of it, but that's been the only useful thing. It was the 5 link. I also got a unique, which unique was it? I got Goldworm, this 5 link, which is, it's rode okay. I mean, for a starter 5 link, it's not too bad. Other than that, it's just been like, for the shipments, all I was getting was just some rares, just some randomly rolled rares, which were not too impressive. So they all went to the vendor. So yeah, I've not been really playing about with the link mechanic. I've been trying to max out my town, but again, we only started doing the encounters after Act 5. So yeah, we haven't invested too much. I'm still trying to max out my town and basically just upgrade my buildings, but we've not really been tinkering about with setups for workers or doing too much strategy, just because we don't have that many options. We are still too early in the meta progression of the settlement. So I'm looking forward to playing more with it, because honestly, the feeling about it, I still don't know what a good strategy is, or how you should be maximizing the utility you get from the link mechanic. But it's just fun. It's just fun thinking about with the different buildings, seeing what options there are. So I'm quite happy with it so far. Obviously, it's only day one. I may end up bored with it, but so far so good. Anyways, back to the progression gear. So you can start with we can see that we start with really just normal gear. The important things are obviously links. So this was our link for our Holy Flame Totem, which was supported by Summon Phantasm and added fire damage. Nothing spectacular, just some fire res and a bit of cold res. Blue gauntlets off the ground with just some light res. The important thing is the links. Some random helmet that used for our movement skill. Some random, well, actually the leather belt was pretty good with, I mean, so far the increased maximum life in some of the armor pieces is pretty good. You see that in a bit on my on the gear that I'm starting maps with, which pretty much is the most life I've had per piece of equipment that I've ever had in pathofexile. It's just that they've buffed them quite a lot. It's very noticeable. Then we swapped over to this armor. Again, the important thing in the campaign is the actual sockets and links, and I think if you find the sockets and links that you're needing, that would probably be more important than the actual stats if you're struggling to fit gems in. Some pretty good blue gloves obviously for the level that I found them at. I was needing the heavy belt for the strength requirements, some cold res that wrote on it, not too bad. Our first calling wand, which basically it was just a normal item, but then we crafted some res that we needed. Then again, we were needing the actual socket, so nothing too good on this. We were needing the decks, some armor, some life. This was our first reasonably good helmet. We still haven't got a +1 to all summon skills helmet, but that's okay. We're needing this for the decks and all attributes that he was giving us. Our first bone spirit shield, again, just crafted rest. We got this white off the ground. And then our last items before we swapped is, I mean, this is pretty good for starting maps. Again, pretty good shield, slightly better convening wand. Now, we were leveling our gems in the offhand, so as soon as we managed to transfer them to the special versions, the blink arrow of whatever, the mirror of bombarding and blink arrow of prismatic clones, we were able to transition straight away. So now with the 5 link, we've got mirror arrow, minion damage, fresh meat, elemental damage with attacks. We're using elemental army. I was gonna use cruelty, but I didn't really want, because we are super low on currency. We literally don't have any alterations. We were trying to roll some flasks and that didn't turn up well. So yeah, we didn't want to, and obviously we don't have a lot of chrome, so we didn't want to fuck about with the colors too much. So we've just gone with elemental army, but you've got choices. Now, blink arrow of prismatic clones we got at the moment as just on its own. I've not supported it because it didn't have any currency to do the sockets, and I mean we've got a little bit, but I'm probably gonna leave it for now. But what I'm gonna support it with when I've got the currency is gonna be blink arrow with Guardian's Blessing. Well, Vol haste ideally, but we've just got haste at the moment, and we are gonna put Feeding Frenzy on that as well. That will be for the 4 link. Now 6 link, again, we've got options. We can put in again elemental damage with attacks. We can put in as quite a few options. We can do minion damage. I mean, we can do any of those gems realistically, or What else can we do? We can do increase criticals, increase critical damage. A lot of stuff you can potentially scale, just depends how you're building it. So this is just Blink Arrow on its own. But again, that's... And the cool thing, by the way, the cool thing about this build is that we don't actually... I mean, you could argue that we need another movement skill to get out of sticky situation, but I think if you plan your cooldowns, you can use basically your attack skill to be your movement skill. And it also gives you an aura, which is pretty cool. So that's one thing I really like about this build, is that, yeah, it just, you don't need a movement skill because your damaging skill is your movement skill. And some people actually just go with mirror arrow, they don't use blink arrow, but I'm gonna use both of them. At least at the start. I'll see how it feels later on. Maybe I'll swap blink arrow for some sort of other movement skill setup. I don't know. In terms of skills, so this dropped off the ground. So tier 4 elemental damage with attacks. Well, the lightning damage is really low tier, but then we've got tier 3 cold damage. We've got tier 3 crit multi, some mana per enemy killed, and then we've crafted attack speed, and that's, you know, reasonable starting bow. We had a few others that we dropped, but this one was the best. Again, nothing too hot, although we've actually got another option. Is there is a recipe which is Shark Tooth, Arrow Quiver, plus the skill gem for Rain of Arrows, a plain Onyx Amulet, and I think an Orb of Fusing, which gives you a unique item, which is... Let me go to POE Wiki, and it is... Here is... I think Bite? I think it's here is Bite. So there is a pretty easy recipe. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a good starting quiver. So in case you don't get anything nice, you can get, basically these are the stats. It gives you some strength, dex, intelligence, some cold damage to attacks, some increased cast speed, some, well, we don't benefit from this because it's the actual clones that they use it, and we don't care about their leeching. And then increased area of effect. So I probably, as soon as I get an Onyx Amulet, or I use the recipe to have one made, which is, I mean, Onyx Amulets, there isn't a recipe for it. Let me show you exactly what it is. What is the recipe? So one amulet, red skill gem, green skill gem, blue skill gem. So we can pretty much do the amulet recipe just now. Our current quiver, it's got crit multi, we need the dexterity, it's got some life, some rest, which I don't think we actually need. Yeah, we don't need lightning rest. So, but we do want life because we are a little bit low on life at the moment, so we are sticking with it. Once we get a bit more life, I think we will swap to Hiri's Bite. The rest of the gear, boots, atrocious boot, we got them in like Act 5 or 6. We were using it for the 4 link because we had someone SRS in that, but we are still using them because we needed links. We didn't have enough linking currency. We definitely will be changing that soon. Belt, again, a lot of life, very little lightning rest, some armor, just starter belt. We'll be swapping that pretty soon, well, hopefully pretty soon. bell, the helm, just a lot of life, just a lot of life. That's everything. Just a lot of life. I mean, look at the tier 1 life. It's up to 144 life. That's crazy, man. Nothing else. We haven't been lucky with getting a +1 to minion skill gems, which I usually always get by the end of the campaign. Not this time, unfortunately. So this will be getting swapped as soon as we get a +1 helm. The 5 link, I mean, it's got decent amount of life, but not much else. Yeah, some, again, it's the wrong base. We don't want evasion gear, to be honest. I would rather that be an armor base. Well, armor and ES, but this is the base that we got a 5 link on, so I can't complain. Again, the gloves, some res. Again, we are running purity of elements, so res is not that important, but just a lot of life, and we wanted to get some life because the build doesn't have that much increased percentage life, so we want to squeeze as much flat as we can. That's everything. And then this, basically, just some chaos and lightning res and crafted life, and then we needed the attribute requirements. But yeah, we should be swapping the amulet soon. What's my chaos res? Pretty atrocious, -40. But the rings, I mean, look at this. I mean, a lot of dexterity, which we are starved for anyway. We need like 212 for the bow. I mean, you can probably get like a bow base that needs less than that, but I would go with Imperial bow at least before you swap to a physical based bow. So a lot of life, again, tier 1 life, a lot of mana. We don't benefit from the added fire damage to attacks, a lot of dex, some cold, and again, to the other one, tier 1 life, evasion rating is okay, although it's very low value. Cold damage to attack doesn't do anything for us. Fire res is good, global accuracy doesn't do anything for us, but the increased cast speed, tier 1 increased cast speed, really good, and then obviously the implicit fire res. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, my flask are not rolled yet. We've got, obviously we don't get anything from the freeze and chill because we are immune to any ailments. We just had this from before we started using purity of elements. Same story here. We do benefit from the reduced effect of curses. We don't benefit anything from it, and we need immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood and instant recovery. Now we will be re-rolling obviously all the flasks except for this one, which is pretty good. We need to quality them and we need to automate them, but that will take a long time. This because GGG have made the change that you can no longer buy the Bobo currency, which you were able to purchase from the blacksmiths before for, I think, whichever was it, for blacksmith whetstones. Now you can no longer do that. So getting the Bobos, the instant orbs would be a pain, but it is what it is. So far, flasks bricked. I mean, not bricked, but you know, they don't have any useful mods except for this one and this one. But yeah, that's the day 1 update. Let me just quickly go over the gear. So mirror arrow bombarding, that's the only skill that we actually have the links that you want for it. The rest is still work in progress because we don't have the correct links, so we're playing about with it. I can probably post the links that I want to use at the end of the day, so you can plan around that. But for mirror arrow, we've got minion damage, fresh meat, which is super good. It gives us adrenaline and wake and fury for 10% of the minion's duration up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Weak and fury grants plus 3.5% critical strike chance, and it also gives 65% to critical strike multiplier. Quite good. We've also got elemental damage with attacks and elemental army support, which is quite nice because first of all it gives your minions elemental resistance, which we don't really care about because these are not constant minions. We just recast them all the time, so we don't really care that much about them dying because we will recast them all the time pretty much. But what we do care is that minions from supported skills inflict exposure on hit, applying minus 10% to the element resistance matching highest damage type taken by enemy. And minions from supported skills deal 60% more elemental damage. We've also got obviously Blink Arrow, which is not supported at the moment. We've got Desecrate, Purity of Elements, Flesh Offering, Determination, Elemental Weakness. We've got Enduring Cry for obviously the regen and more importantly for getting some endurance charges, because endurance charges are super good this league. They've changed them to give us, instead of more resistance, they actually give us more elemental and physical mitigation, which is super good. Then we've got Clarity linked with Arrogance, Summon Stone Golem, and Red Spectre, which we are just leveling at the moment. We are also leveling Haste, Guardian's Blessing, which will go together with our Blink Arrow Prismatic Clones. We've got Feeding Frenzy again. This would be the 4-link setup for this. We are leveling Volatility, which should be the potentially the 5th link. There is quite a few different options. It could be, I'm not sure what the 6th link. I mean, Elemental Army could be the 6th link. There could be a lot of other things. For example, I believe the guide I was following listed the 6th link as, where was it? Oh no, that wasn't in the guide. Volatility, Lightning Pen. It could be any elemental pen, although we are not really using Wrath as an aura to scale our damage, so we could actually use Elemental Army or any other form of pen. I've not done the math, so I'm not really sure which one is the best. So I'm just gonna test out a few different things. I'm sure that obviously there is also a crit version of the build. But so far, this is where we are at. Let me just show you my tree. So this is the Bama tree. Now the way that you level is you're gonna start from here, grab all the element like the minion damage nodes here, go for Retribution, which is a pretty good node altogether, go for Holy Dominion for the rest. Then you'd probably go attack and cast speed here plus precision for even more attack and cast speed plus dexterity. And you're gonna go this cluster here. This one gives you increase and reductions to minion attack speed also affect you, which is really good for just the speed of your movement and your attacks, which is super good to have up during the campaign because it just allows you to get through the campaign quicker. And then you got some minion cast and attack speed here. Obviously you get this. You're gonna go straight to minion instability, then get some minion life here, minion life here, minion life here, which obviously once you spec into Bama you would respec out of. And after you've completed this side of the tree, you go for sovereignty to get some mana reservation efficiency. You probably get this. And then you're gonna go straight down, get some more life, although you potentially don't need it. Depends how confident you feel as a player. If you're a newer player, obviously, I think the less confident you feel about your playing ability during the game, the more life you should try and get, just so that if you make an actual mistake of your movement or how you do your attack and move in the game, sometimes you end up getting stuck, or you end up not performing the movement as you thought you'd. So you'd need a little bit more life because you'd be doing some mistakes in game. And then you just go straight to here for the mastery, which says blink arrow and mirror arrow have 100% increased cooldown recovery rate, which is super important because you will be casting them quite a lot. For example, what your general rotation would be, obviously you use blink arrow for your movement, because what you would do is you create a clone. Why did it not do it? Create a clone and it will move you. So this is your movement skill. It creates a clones here and you move to another location. Now the other skill is the opposite. You create a clone of your skill of yourself at the end location. So let's say this is the end location. Bam, bam, and each of those skills has got a limit of 3. So if you use both of them, you've got 6 clones altogether. So I suppose at some point, if you think that your damage is good enough, you can drop one of the skills and use something else instead. But for now, you're going to use both of them. Plus, blink arrow obviously is your movement skill. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now what I will be doing is I'll be pathing through here, getting some more suppression, getting some more mana reservation. I'll be getting some minion damage here. I'll be getting some more minion stuff here. Some sockets for jewels. And yeah, I mean, there is options. And another important thing is we'll be getting more increased Q effect duration as well. But that's just the backbone of the tree, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna approach it. I suppose I'll just test things about and see what feels good. But yeah, that's my day 1. We just got to maps, and once this video is uploaded, I'm just gonna jump straight into complete my atlas and see where we go from there. I will be streaming on Twitch TV, so if you want to follow my progress, feel free to join the journey on twitch.tv_noobinator.tv. Sorry, my bad, noobinator_TV. And yeah, you can ask any questions about the build, although it obviously is not my build. I'm just following. I suppose there is quite a few people that have done this build, so I'm not gonna argue whose build is it, but yeah, I've seen a few people that have done some variation on this, and I've been tempted to play it for quite a few leagues, and I am doing that now. So join me on twitch.tv and look out for my further progress videos. So yeah, I'm just gonna go and grind some maps. Thanks very much for stopping by YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye bye.